This exercise is a one-arm press-up. So a lot of work for the upper body, but you've also got to consider your core and scapular stability. The other thing is your weight bearing really just on one hand. So there's a lot of pressure on the wrist joint here. So just watching out for wrist problems or even shoulder issues. If there's any shoulder problems here, it's going to possibly exacerbate that. So you might want to think about an alternative version for those clients. So I'm going to show you a couple of variations. So the first one is just where we're stacking the joints, hip over hip, knee over knee, ankle over ankle. I'm going to take one arm across the body because this is the arm that's going to be working. The other hand I'm just going to press, I'm just going to hold on to the opposite shoulder. So I just want to stretch that arm out. If it's directly here under my arm, yes, there's going to be a little bit more pressure on the wrist. If I bring it over here, it's actually slightly easier. You'll notice I get a bigger range of movement. So watch out where that hand is. I tend to put mine in front of the shoulder. So I'm going to start here. It's kind of on an angle. So I want to make sure my head is in line with the spine and I bend as far as I can without really sort of touching the floor, and then straighten again. So my objective is to keep my torso and my legs as still as possible so that I don't sort of do this and I'm not doing a banana and I'm not moving from the spine. I'm moving from that elbow joint. Okay. You can also do this with straight legs, either one stacked over the other, or for a little bit more of a stable position, you can have one leg in front of the other, and it's the same position, bending and straightening at that elbow joint. But again, watching the head alignment and watching that there's no kind of banana-ing in the spine going as well. So Jasmine's going to line aside. And we'll start with the knees bent and the joints stacked at a sort of roughly a 90-degree angle, maybe a little bit wider. And so we're going to take this top arm and place it in front. So again, hand in front of the shoulder and place this other hand just over here. And we're going to try to keep that nice long gap between ear and shoulder on both sides, keeping those ribs really pulled in tight. And she's just going to bend as deep as she can handle, because the deeper the bend, the harder it is, the more the alignment and the spine's going to twist and then straighten up, and really pushing out through the crown of that head. Inhaling as she comes down, keeping that nice long spine. We want to keep equal length on both sides of the waist, keeping those shoulders down away from the ear. Jasmine, just try on your knuckle. So just going onto the knuckle as an alternative, and then gently bending down. So a lot of scapular stability to prevent those shoulders from hunching. A lot of core stability to keep that nice alignment of the spine so there's no side bending here. Okay, now just straighten out those legs. And we're just crossing that top leg over the bottom leg. Lovely. And again, remember, the closer the hand is, the less range of movement that is. So again, gently bending down, watching that the waist stays long, so there's no increase in lateral flexion, and keeping the shoulder away, or keeping the head away from the shoulder. So I've got nice straight spine. Inhale down and exhale to push back up again. Okay, gently release, bending the knees. A different alternative is to do this from an all fours position. So if you can come onto all fours, Jasmine, making sure that the knees are under the hips and the hands are under the shoulders. Okay, so it may be a little bit more of a stable position for those that can't quite straighten the elbow without doing a bit of a side bend. So we're going to place this hand behind the back and just placing the palm so it's facing upwards. So it's still a one-arm press-up essentially, either on the wrist or on the knuckle, and then she gently bends the elbow. Now remember, with any press-up, the further forward she's going to lean, the harder it is, because you're taking more weight over those arms. If she wanted to make it easier, she'd kind of lean back a little bit as she bends the elbow, and that will make it much easier. And again, bend, so it's roughly getting the nose kind of level with those fingertips, and then gently straightening up. Watching that the spine remains in neutral, nice and flat. Inhale, bend, and only bending as far as good technique allows without any hunching of the shoulders, without any arching of the ribs. How does that version feel, Jasmine?
A bit easier than the other one, I think.
Yeah, just an easier position all round, less awkward for people. So that's also a suitable alternative if they're kind of doing lots of lateral flexion. Of course, it can be done on the knuckles, or we can do that dolphin position. Just show the dolphin position, Jasmine. So on your elbows, this again is a different variation as well for people that can't weight bear, and we're just leaning forwards, chin in front of the knuckles, and then gently back, really connecting those ribs in, leaning forward again, keeping the shoulders away from the ears as you lean forward, so scapular stability and ribs connected to prevent that lower back from arching, so core stability at the end. And that's a suitable alternative for those with particular wrist issues.